Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the end of the fucking world. I feel like it's the end of the world because, like, every time I get a break, I get sick, and I am sick again. So I apologize up front for any maybe coughing you hear as we record tonight's episode. Trying my best. I'm drinking some nice apple cider, and I'm joined, as always, by my trusty sidekick, Travis.
I'm a sidekick.
You've moved up in the world, right?
It feels good. I'm no
Yeah.
longer a ward or a minion.
Unfortunately, we're not able to offer you any kind of incentive or pay package increase or anything like that right now. Times are tough, I'm sure you know. Um,
Oh, I'm very aware.
but here is a bumper sticker that says "I break for goth girls."
All right, well, you know what? I will
Hopefully
take it.
that. Thank you. Well, how's your week been?
It's not bad. It's been pretty. I don't know, just a lot of the same stuff happening. Real mellow at work. I'm worried I'm going to get used to it, and then January's going to hit, and everything's going to just fall on us, and we're
Yeah,
not ready.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, like I said, I have this whole week off as a teacher. We're on Thanksgiving
oh
break.
yeah,
My birthday was on Saturday. No, Sunday. I don't even know.
Sunday.
Sunday. I woke up Sunday morning and I felt awful. I woke up at like six
Ah,
o'clock in the morning and my head was like felt like it weighed a ton. Couldn't go back to bed, so I ended up getting the computer. I actually did an early morning live stream of myself playing some Magic the Gathering that I threw up on the channel
I
just
did
for
see
fun.
that.
Yeah, a few people joined in while I was doing it. That was kind of fun.
That's
I didn't really
cool.
interact much or anything. I was kind of feeling like shit, but a few people did
Yeah.
say happy birthday, so that was neat.
Oh, that's
Um,
far out.
yeah, did that until my wife woke up, and then when she woke up, I was like, all right, I can go tell her
Yeah.
how I feel like shit. So, yeah, this kind of happens pretty much almost every break as a teacher over the last year.
Yeah.
Parents send their kids to school, the kid's sick, parents are like, well, you're out in like 2 or 3 days anyway, so what difference does it make?
Oh.
Kids sneezing and snorting and coughing all over the fucking place.
Hmm.
And then, they get like 5 or 6 teachers sick, and I'm
Two.
one of them. So that's been my week. I've been dealing with doing the house buying stuff that we've been doing still,
Mm-hmm.
getting all that stuff done, going and doing inspections, paying for inspections, and waiting on
Oh.
inspections, and and then filing paperwork, finding paperwork, sending paperwork, doing all that while being just super congested and coughing and sneezing, and it's just been it's been not the most fun, but yeah,
No.
that's been my Thanksgiving break so far, and that was my
Oh
birthday.
man.
That was that was what I got for my birthday was getting sick, and then yeah, I go back to work in a couple days, so
Yeah.
hopefully by then I'm feeling better, but right now not
Hopefully.
feeling so hot, but
Yeah.
we
But
will persevere.
we will persevere.
Because tonight we are talking about a movie that I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun time. It's not a good movie, but it's a fun time. We're talking about The Hunter from the Future from 1983.
Mm-hmm. Year I was born.
The year you were born, yes, yes, yes. So this movie, a lot of things happened in '83. This movie came out 1 year after Conan the Barbarian, which is a movie
I
that it blatantly rips off.
oh, blatantly.
Comes out a few months after Star Wars Episode 6.
Yep.
Another movie that it blatantly rips off the Star Wars trilogy at this point.
Yep.
It also comes out 3 years after The Flash, Flash Gordon, which is another
Oh,
movie
big
that it
time.
rips off.
Oh yeah.
So you can kind of see, if you've never seen Your Hunter in the Future, if you can imagine Conan the Barbarian mixed with Flash Gordon mixed with Star Wars on a budget of like celery, then that's pretty much the movie you get here.
Yep.
Um, it is a movie that has been reviewed a lot of different places by a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
Red Letter Media did a version of it. I'm pretty certain of. I could be wrong on that. I'm not the biggest Red Letter Media fan,
I've
but
recently gotten into them.
Riff Tracks did a version of it way back in the day that
Yep.
obviously was very popular. And then a guy that we're going to talk about here in a little while,
Mm-hmm.
Spoony, did a version that also took off way back on YouTube many, many moons ago.
Yep.
So now we're going to talk about it tonight. So this is obviously some work that has already been talked about a little bit. So we're not going to maybe necessarily touch on all of the elements of it because they've already kind of been touched on elsewhere. But we'll talk about
Yeah.
some fun things that
Oh yeah,
that at least
there's
that we
plenty
have
of
to
fun
say.
stuff in it.
So let's go
Yeah.
ahead and start with the background of this movie.
Yes.
Um, so my research on this was a little brief because, like I said, my head is feeling
Hmm.
a little inflated. So, but I did find some interesting things. So, first thing
Oh,
that
okay.
this movie was directed by Antonio Margheriti,
Mm.
who was an Italian man. He directed many movies.
Did he?
Oh yeah, tons of movies. He directed another movie that's really good called Cannibal Apocalypse.
Oh, I know that
Um,
movie.
yeah, he directed that. He actually, have you ever seen Inglorious Bastards, Quentin Tarantino's
Yes.
movie? Okay, so in the scene when they go to finally confront Hitler in the movie theater and they have to pretend like they're Italian film personnel,
Yes.
Eli Roth's character, when they gave him an assumed name, he is assuming the name of Antonio Margheriti, who is the director of this movie, because Tarantino
Oh.
was a big Antonio Margheriti fan.
Oh, far out.
This movie, he goes by the name of Anthony Dawson, which is about as not Italian as you can get. But
That's
yeah,
pretty great.
Antonio Margheriti is actually the movie. He's the guy doing it. He did a lot of special effects in a lot of movies as well. So beyond just being a director, he also
Hmm.
co-wrote this movie, which is the only movie he's written, I think.
Oh yeah.
Um, his son also does special effects and music in movies, so he's got like a whole kind of connection in Italy. And his son actually works on this movie as well. Um,
Well,
so
that's
yeah, they're
cool.
kind of like a little family affair going on here. And this is one of those movies that is actually one of his more successful movies he ever made. This movie total made last figure I found was $2 million. I do not know what
Hmm.
the budget was, but he has said that the budget was next to nothing. And
I
that he
believe it.
actually enjoys the movie because he can look back on it and laugh at it and just
Hmm.
celebrate like what they were able to do with just having like no money. Which is kind of fun that he's able to kind of enjoy it. It's one of
Yeah.
those movies that I think anyone that watches it would never be like, "Oh, this is a good movie." But
Yeah. Right.
it's a good movie in a different sense, and I'm glad that he
It
also
is.
kind of can sense that and comes to appreciate it.
That is
I am
cool. I like
interested
that.
to know what Quentin Tarantino thinks of this movie.
Yeah.
Like that
Really.
I don't want to hear what Tarantino thinks of good movies. I want to know I want to know the movies that are awful that he likes. Those are the movies I want to know
Yes.
about Tarantino. I
Absolutely.
think Yor might be one of them. That's my guess. I
I
don't
could see it.
know. So this is based off of a comic book, just like last week with Tank Girl.
Okay. Now that I did not know.
Yeah, so this is based off of a comic book that ended
Hmm.
10 years before the movie came out. So it ended in I think 74, 73.
Hmm.
And the comic was based in I think it was is it Venezuelan or Argentina? I think it was from Argentina. Yeah,
Yeah.
Argentina. Yeah, so yeah, it was an Argentinian comic written by two different guys whose names I was not able to write down. I saw them on IMDb and I meant to write them down, but like I said, my
Hmm.
brain was just not
Oh.
functioning to the best of its ability. So instead of focusing on those guys, and I don't know what other comics they read or wrote, but I also
Hmm.
don't know much about like South American comic book industry. So
Yeah. I see.
I
I know
don't know how
nothing
many of
about
the
it.
titles I would even
Yeah.
recognize,
Really.
but maybe they've done some interesting stuff too. I'll have to kind of add on to that.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of disappointments, last week I mentioned that the Blu-ray copy I have of this movie has the commentary from Reb Brown. Well, in addition to getting sick, my Blu-ray player also stopped working.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's been fun. So I had to break out the old PS4, and by the time
Yeah.
I found it, I had already watched the movie, and I just watched a copy of it that I texted you because I
Yep.
think it was maybe a possibly illegal Japanese copy, but I got the
That's
job done.
possible. But it was even
Possibly,
better. I watched the Rift Tracks version on two different
exactly.
platforms.
Yeah, yeah. So the movie was co-written by Robert Blair, who is another guy who's worked on a bunch of other movies.
Hmm.
Did a lot of set design, did some graphic design for a bunch of different movies, but this is the only movie that he wrote. So,
Okay.
kind of his own little take on the sword and sorcery genre. Speaking
Yeah.
of sword and sorcery genre, do you have a favorite sword and sorcery genre or movie of
Or
that genre?
movie of that genre. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
Krull is right up there as like probably number one for me. That's one of those movies like because on my birthday every year I try to watch a movie from '83. Krull
Uh,
comes up a lot for me because I've loved that movie since I was a kid.
it is a
That
good
one's
one.
really good. What's that other one? Oh shoot, the one with Matthew Broderick and Michelle
Lady
Pfeiffer
Hawk.
and Lady Hawk. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know why that great movie all of a sudden
Excuse
it
me.
just went out of my head.
Yeah,
But
Lady Hawk's a good one.
yeah, Lady, that's a really good one. But yeah, I'd say that those are up there with like some of my favorites. And obviously the obvious ones. Well, I think Lady Hawk's probably an obvious one. But
Yeah.
like um why can't I remember the names of things now? Willow.
Willow. Yes, yes,
That's,
Willow.
you know, more,
Did you
you know.
watch the most recent Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Yes, I did.
I liked that one quite a bit,
I
actually.
did like that one a lot.
I thought that kind of scratched my sword and sorcery itch.
It really did.
It is a genre that keeps popping back up every now and then. Like it kind of has
Hmm.
it has these little rebirths. Like in the 2000s, it kind of had another rebirth where you had Conan the Barbarian remake with Jason's Momoa come out, which was a
Yes.
terrible, terrible, terrible movie. Um, and then there was I think there was supposed to be a Red Sonja that was going to come out with Rose McGowan. I don't think that ever happened.
Oh,
And so there's all these like little tiny movies that'll pop back up. But yeah, I think one of my most recent favorites was the Dungeons and Dragons.
yeah.
Was the Dungeons and Dragons movie. I thought that was a real fun time.
Yeah, and
So
hopefully that kind of brings like that back in, you know, because I guess like
yeah,
Lord of the
yeah,
Rings was, I mean, you could call that
yeah,
the same thing,
yeah. It's a little
you know.
definitely fits that big budget sword and
Yeah,
sorcery. Yeah,
like a
yeah.
big budget
Unfortunately, the
one.
days of like Roger Corman making cheap sword and sorcery movies in
Yeah,
the Italian deserts are maybe past us, but maybe one day we'll come back to that.
maybe we can get, yeah. We'll have to see
That would
what
be
Tubi
nice.
has to has to offer there.
So before we get into the cast or we get into how many movies, how many Razzies this movie was nominated for, or the band and the music of this movie, which is the last thing we'll talk about before we get into the
Oh,
plot of
yes.
this movie, I think we'd be remiss if I we didn't discuss how I came to know about this movie because this was not a
Yep.
movie that I just knew about. I was not born when this movie came out. I was born a couple years afterwards.
Hmm.
This was not a movie that anyone in my friend group discussed. No one talked
Nope.
about it. It wasn't a movie that like anyone I met discussed. So the way I came to find this movie was through the former internet personality Spoonie Noah Antweiler on YouTube.
Yep.
I came into his content in my first year of college,
Hmm.
getting into YouTube when it was in its kind of infancy. And it was a
Yes.
lot of like at the time there was video game reviews were becoming really popular because you had a lot of millennials, like people like my age, were either in college or about to go into college. And so they wanted people to like have these like almost like critical think pieces about like kind of benign, stupid content that very few people
Hmm.
probably engaged with.
Yes.
That was kind of his whole gimmick. Spoonie, if you've never seen him, you can find his video on YouTube. They're worth a watch. I really liked his content, especially back then. I watched every one of his videos. I ended up sharing his videos with you, and
Yes.
I came into his content through The Thing, the video game The Thing, which was a video game that I bought and hated. Hated that fucking game. It was awful, awful, awful video game. And I remember like I couldn't share in the awfulness of it with anyone else because I didn't know anyone else that really played it. Right. Like my friend played it, but he was like, yeah, it sucked, and that was it. Right. But then I remember looking online one day and I saw Spoonie's review of the thing, and it just was like, it was very funny. It was well made. And it was like, oh, this guy's kind of talking about some other stuff, and then going and finding the rest of his videos that he had from there, and then following his
Hmm.
content from there. So that's how I came to find was this a similar way for you?
It was you showing me Spoonie
Okay. I was gonna
is
say
how I learned about it.
yeah, I had never heard of this movie before. I had never heard of
Nope,
Reb Brown, and
ever.
seeing him
I
get
was
so
somewhat
into it.
familiar. I was a
You were
little
somewhat
familiar with
familiar.
Reb Brown
Okay.
because of the Captain America movie that he was in.
Okay. See, I had not
Yeah.
seen that either before. Yeah.
I did catch that one when I was a kid, so I was a
Yeah.
little bit familiar with Reb Brown, but I didn't know who he was or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, same. So
Yeah.
seeing Spoonie kind of get into the reviews of it, it was very fun. And then
Hmm.
his review of Yor was also very fun at the time. I
Oh
actually
yes,
actually went back and watched it a couple days ago.
I watched it
Just
this like earlier today.
yeah.
So
It's
all the
it
things I
doesn't
forgot about the movie, I've
uh
relearned again through Spoonie. So
yeah, it's like a time capsule of old YouTube because like YouTube
it
videos
is.
don't look like that anymore. Like if you want to
No.
see what like YouTube videos look like almost 20 years ago, there you go. Um, they were a little different than they are now. Like now,
Hmm.
if you watch a YouTube video, I really don't like the way a lot of YouTube videos are even edited, where it's like every couple seconds the camera zooms in, even though
Hmm.
there's not a cut needed, but it's like, well, statistically, the camera needs to move every 15 seconds or the audience is disengaged. Yeah, but you could maybe do something else than just like following statistics, just maybe for the
Yeah,
moment.
right.
I don't know. That's my only problem with some of those. In his videos, he didn't do that. You could tell that he kind of had a little bit more visual ambition, sometimes
Hmm.
to the detriment of his video, because sometimes he would kind of shoehorn in some of his like narrative stuff that he was doing in some of his
Oh,
videos.
that's right.
Some of that I didn't really enjoy so much, but of those creators, Spoonie, Linkara, all those guys that used to do a lot of
Yeah.
videos, he was one of my favorites. I don't think he
Oh,
does
absolutely.
videos anymore.
He does.
I
Yeah.
know, I think he does live streams here and there.
He'll do a
Uh,
live stream here and there.
yeah, I haven't kept up with him as much in the
No.
last couple years. I know that he had a big falling out that happened based on some stupid shit he said. Um,
Yeah.
I'm aware of what he said. It was kind of
It's
stupid. He
it
didn't
was,
handle it the
but
best way when he
he
got
did
called
not.
out
No.
on it.
That was the bummer part.
Yeah, and I think he's probably grown as an adult and hopefully realized that like I probably
I
shouldn't have responded that way. But he there was a lot, it's hard to say
Yeah, there
about
was,
how people
it was a
respond the
different
way they do.
time. And yeah, it's hard to control, like, when you have an outburst about something, you're emotionally charged. You just
I
say
mean,
it.
and a lot of it was happening on the internet, which compounds everything because then it feels
Oh,
like,
yes.
you have this like wave of people after you,
Mm-hmm.
which can really
So,
trigger like an anxiety attack, which for some people,
oh,
when
yeah.
you have an anxiety attack online, you can kind of retaliate verbally,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes to
And
the
yeah,
detriment of your own career, which I think is kind of
especially
what
if it's like
cost him a lot of
on,
audience.
yeah, like in the moment that sort of thing happens, and it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, great. Well, now that's out there.
Yeah, that I
So,
would say that, and then sometimes the delay on his videos took a while. Like sometimes, it was like
yes.
a video would take like a few months, and to be like, okay, like, well, I'll come back in
Yeah.
like 6 months again and see your next one. And so it wasn't like you were kind of coming back every week, especially someone like me who at a certain point had watched like every video, or
Yes.
not, maybe not every video, but pretty much every video I was
A
interested
lot of
in.
his
So
videos.
I didn't really
Yeah.
have anything else to kind of dive into at the time. So yeah, that's how I
Yeah.
kind of came to get into your Hunter from the Future. That's how I got into Reb Brown. It's also how I kind of got into like Italian ripoff movies and the whole subgenre of Italian post-apocalyptic ripoff movies because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of them, and we're going to talk
Yeah.
about them. Um, and some of them are fun. Some of them are
Yeah.
really, really bad, but they're all made in Italy, and they're all kind of a lot of them are made by the same writers and directors and cast and crew, kind of all working together. So it's kind of like this little it's a weird little industry. So we're going to see a lot of names
Yeah.
pop up here as we talk about the cast that we will see in other films.
Like a
Go,
microcosm.
yeah, especially in one we might watch like next week.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm
So
excited.
we talked about Spoonie. Like I said, if you want to check his videos out, I'll include a link to his channel here.
Yeah.
Like I said, your mileage may vary depending on your age and how into old YouTube videos you are. If you like your content a little bit more modern, then he may not necessarily appeal to you. But
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is. So the cast of this movie, obviously, our main is Reb Brown,
The
um,
Red Brown.
the motherfucking Reb Brown, who was in a ton of action movies in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Canada's answer to action movie or action stars.
Yes. Yeah, I think he's a former football player I was reading who got into acting, kind of worked his way up, going from like small roles into like leading man roles. So most of his leading man roles are in action movies where he is
Oh yeah.
very clearly substituting for a cheap man's Arnold or a cheap man's Sly or
or
maybe a
Jean Claude or
cheap man's Jean Claude or Chuck Norris or
oh, absolutely, yeah.
he's the good value brand of action movie star. He's saving some money when you hire Reb. He'll get the job done.
He'll get the job
Um,
done, and he'll
isn't
probably do a primal scream or
hmm
yell at some point.
He will. He will. He will. Obviously, he was in a fun movie called Space Mutiny,
Yep.
uh, which is an awful movie. Robo War. Um, he also shows up in an actually like a good movie called Hardcore with George C. Scott from the 80s.
Hmm.
He has a little role in that movie, which is actually like just like a really good movie.
Yeah.
About George C. Scott is trying to find his daughter who's got into the hardcore porn industry. And yeah, it's just kind of like
Yeah.
his descent into finding his daughter. It's a good movie, and Reb Brown shows up in that too, which I did not
Nice.
know until finding this out today.
Oh,
He
really?
is,
Okay.
yeah. So our other cast members, I guess we'll talk about the two people who have the most screen time with him, and then we'll talk about the
Yeah.
Overlord. So the Overlord is played by John Steiner, who is in a ton of Italian movies. Um,
Oh,
he is in a lot of Italian post-apocalyptic movies that we will talk about.
his face was mostly hidden, so.
Yes, yes, yes. He is also in a movie that is nothing to do with the apocalypse, but is the third. I can't remember if it was the third or second movie I ever watched with my now wife, but he was in Caligula, where he played Longinus.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
Also,
and
that's.
that was one of the first movies I ever watched with my wife. Me and my wife first started dating, she like saw my movie collection and she was talking, because she liked a lot of B and Z movies. So she,
Hmm.
I knew she was into some of these things, and so we were talking about Caligula, and I was like, "Have you ever seen Caligula?" It's this like
As it naturally
big
comes up.
budget. Yeah, it naturally comes up in all conversations. I was like, it's like this big budget, giant budget, kind of porno flick, like
Kind of. Well,
kind
I
of.
mean, when once Penthouse got their hands on it.
Yeah, like it was. I basically was telling her the whole story. We watched the Cinema Snobs like review of it beforehand, and then
Hmm.
she watched it with me. And then yeah, afterwards she was just like, "That was a weird fucking movie to watch with you." And ever since then, she's always brought it up. It's like, "Can't
That's
believe you showed me
awesome.
Caligula on like our second or third date." And I was like, "Yeah, that was a good
That's a
time."
real litmus test right there.
Yeah, it's a real like, hey, you want to see something fucked up? Let's watch Caligula.
Was
See
it
if you're
Penthouse or
still
was it
wanting to hang out
Hustler?
afterwards. It's Penthouse. Yeah,
Okay,
pretty sure it's Penthouse.
I don't
Pretty sure.
I don't know enough about back then. But
Joining, going against are the Overlord, who looks like a poor man's version of if the costume department of Star Wars and Flash Gordon like had a mix-up,
mhm.
and you had to like make Darth Vader and also the I forget the guys from Flash Gordon. Someone's gonna correct me. I don't remember his name. The bad guy in Flash Gordon.
Oh, Ming. Ming
Ming,
the
thank you.
Merciless.
Ming the Merciless. If you took Ming the Merciless and crossed him with Darth Vader, that's kind of what the Overlord looks like in this movie.
Yeah.
So besides him, we got Reb Brown we talked about, and then we have Reb Brown's love interest in this movie, the three women he is offered, and the
Yeah.
first one he sticks with there. She tries to kill the other women at first. It's a complicated story.
It's complicated.
She's a French actress, sorry, who was also in
Oh,
Moonraker, the James Bond movie from '79.
really?
Mm-hmm. And her name is
Hmm.
Corinne Cleary, I believe. Corinne
Oh,
Cleary. Yeah, so she is really only she's been in other movies, but these were the two big ones. Was Your Hunter from the Future and Moonraker.
big
That's
one.
it.
You're using big ones like very loosely here.
Yep, 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 yep. Loosey goosey on that term. Her dad in this movie is played by Lucian Pigozzi, who
Hmm.
is another Italian actor who is going to appear in a lot of movies that we will talk about, including Strike Commando, Robo War, Exterminators of the Year 3000, and several other Italian apocalyptic horror movies and sci-fi movies. Similar to John Steiner, he shows up in a lot of Italian movies. He pops up in a couple of
Hmm.
them. He also pops up in several Reb Brown movies. Like he's in Strike Commando with Reb Brown, he's in Robo War with Reb Brown, and he's in this with Reb Brown. So
Oh, that's cool.
Reb Brown also shows up in a lot of Italian movies. So
Yeah. I mean, hey,
that was kind of the cool thing about
if
getting into Spoonie is kind of not only learning about Reb, but also then discovering like all these like Italian filmmakers and stuff that I had not
yeah.
heard of previous to them.
Oh
Whenever
no,
I
yeah.
was learning about movies, I had not gotten into the Italian schlock genre yet,
No.
but I was ready for it. This movie came out, and like I said, it made $2 million. It was not well reviewed. A lot of people hate this movie. A lot of people said it was one of the worst movies ever made.
Oh,
It was
that's not true.
nominated for 3 Razzies the year it came out, and it lost in
Hmm.
each category. So you want to know
Wow.
who won the categories it lost in?
Oh, desperately.
So Reb Brown was nominated for Worst New Star. He lost
Hmm.
to Lou Ferrigno in I think Hercules.
Huh.
Yep. It was nominated for Worst Song for Yours World. He's the man.
What
It did
beat
not win.
that?
A song from a movie called The Lonely Lady, and the song
Uh,
was The Way You Do It.
yeah, all right, that's fair.
Don't know
Just
anything
just
about that
hearing that.
movie. And Yor was
Nope.
also nominated for Worst Score, which it also lost to The Lonely Lady.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to watch that movie now, or
Yes,
at least hear the
apparently.
soundtrack.
Other movies that were nominated in '83 for Worst Director, Scarface was nominated for Brian De Palma, which is a movie
Really?
now. Yeah, 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 yeah,
That's
yeah.
weird.
Yeah,
That blows my mind.
For a while, the Razzies just kind of were like spiteful little assholes. They intentionally
Oh,
gave out nominations to movies or actors or directors they just didn't particularly like. The Razzies, this was the fourth year the Razzies were a thing. So this was early on.
okay.
I think the awards at this point were still given out at an elementary school.
Oh, wow.
It was like an elementary school in LA they used to rent out to give out the Razzies. The whole thing was kind of supposed to be tongue in cheek, and so sometimes I think they would intentionally nominate movies that they just kind of wanted to shit on for whatever reason. And so I don't know, maybe that's my opinion, but
Yeah,
I don't think Scarface is a bad movie. I don't think this movie's that bad. I don't think how you
it's
could
not
say
that
Reb
bad.
Brown is awful in this movie because his voice is pretty much replaced. So his performance is completely nonverbal.
Wait, really?
Yeah, other than like 2 or 3 scenes, Reb Brown's voice is dubbed over in the
Oh, now
American
that
version. Yep.
that sucks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I like Red Brown. You
Yeah,
know?
so there's like a couple of parts where they don't dub over his voice. The part where he slams the talking box, that's Reb.
Hmm.
The part where he yells, that's Reb. But a couple other
Yeah.
scenes is just like when he's having like full dialogue. That's yeah, they use an overdub for that.
Huh.
I
Wow,
guess
that's
they thought
crazy.
maybe the Italian audience wouldn't be able to follow his accent. I don't know. They'd be like they're going to be
Um,
thrown off by this guy.
I guess.
But they don't do that in all the Italian movies. Like in some of his other movies, his voice is just his own voice. But in this one, in the American version that we watched, yeah, his voice is overdubbed in several different parts.
Huh.
Yeah, this movie was actually the edited down version. This movie came out in Italy as a TV movie that was almost 3 hours long.
Oh no.
And the director actually said that the 3 hour version is even funnier and more hilarious than the edited down version. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is the edited down version that we're getting.
Oh, now I
We're getting the 90-minute version, not the 3 hour long Italian version that was
now
originally came out.
I'm gonna have to find that if it even exists. I don't even know.
I didn't even look for it, you know. It didn't come on the Blu-ray or anything like
No.
that. Any no version of it like that, but I'm sure a version of it exists out there if you dig hard enough.
I hope.
Somebody's got to have it. The band behind this that is did Yours World is a group of 2 different musicians who did a bunch of different soundtrack stuff. Their name is Oliver Onion or
Oh.
Oliver's Onions. Is what they go by.
Oh.
They also did the soundtracks for Torso Killer, Killer
Oh.
Fish, The Big Rocket, Galaxy Express 999, the anime. They did some music for that. They
Oh,
also
okay.
had a
I've had.
song. Yeah, I was gonna say you've heard of that one. They also had
Yeah.
a song of theirs appeared in the soundtrack for the Wes Anderson movie Bottle Rocket.
Really?
Yeah, that's a weird connection.
That is a
But yeah,
weird connection.
that is also a thing there. I don't know if Wes Anderson will like just loved shitty Italian movies and was like, I'm gonna include them on the soundtrack, or I don't know. But they do show up there as well.
Hmm.
As also they do a lot of soundtrack work for also a lot of other Italian movies that we'll talk about. So, like I
Yeah.
said, this a lot of these actors, these writers, these directors, the sound crew, a lot of these people are going to show up in a lot of other Italian movies. They use a lot of the same cast and crew over and over and over again.
Yeah. So yeah.
They
Well.
provide good work. They provide good work.
Hey, I mean,
Hey, people
when
got to work.
you gotta work,
So
and that's not bad
before we
work if you can get it.
It's not bad work if you can get it. There's worse movies to be in.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the plot of your Hunter from the Future, we need to take a break so I can go blow my nose. And two,
Mm.
let's talk about the top 5 songs that were on the charts when this movie came out.
Oh, I'm ready for that.
All right, would you like to take any guesses? Top 5 songs when this
Oh,
movie came out in 1983. I will tell you,
83.
all 5 songs I know, all 5 songs are awesome, and I own 3 of the 5 on vinyl.
Ooh, okay.
So this is a
I'm
good, this
gonna
is a
be way off
good,
then.
this is a good day for music when this movie came out.
Oh, okay. Was there any Michael Jackson maybe?
No Michael Jackson. No Michael Jackson.
Okay, I guess he was a little that's a little early for him. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Um, I don't know. But well, no, because I think he was doing stuff a little before. I mean his solo
I'll
stuff.
give you a
But
hint on number 5. Let's see if you can place it.
okay.
Number 5 is I think it's the second solo album she put out. She was the former lead singer of a very popular 70s pop rock group.
Oh, pop rock.
Her husband or fiance or partner, I forget which, was also in the band with
Oh,
her.
Stevie Nicks.
There you go. Very good. First
Ah, I
try.
got there.
Stand Back by Stevie Nicks was number 5.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that is good.
Number 4 was a one-hit wonder.
Oh.
Parodied
Oh.
in the Chris Farley movie with David Spade called Tommy Boy.
It was parodied in there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. I can't even remember. Like I've forgotten all of that movie now that you said it. Um, I
Any
could.
guesses?
I got. Oh. She's a maniac.
Yeah, that's it. Maniac, number 4.
Oh, okay. I don't know the name of the song. I've only
Is that
ever.
right? Because you know what? You
That took
work
me a minute.
hard for your money.
Yeah, he's right. It's so hard for that honey.
You work hard for your money. Which was the song at number 3? Do you know who sings that song?
No, I have no idea.
That was number 3 was She Works Hard for the Money by Donna Summer.
Oh, is that okay?
Yes,
See, I never
sir.
knew who. I never actually knew that was who sang it. Okay, that's cool. Donna
Perhaps in
Summer.
your
Hey, probably the first electronic dance song was hers. Oh, what's the name of
I Will
that
Survive.
song?
No, that's
No,
Gloria
it's the
Gaynor. Yeah, it's
it's
Gloria
oh
Gaynor.
yeah, that's Gloria Gaynor. Donna Summer had that song. Something like something love. Shoot, that's helpful, right?
Very helpful.
Um, I'm just gonna look it up real quick because it's gonna drive me crazy. I feel love.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fair
Yeah,
enough.
that was like probably the
So
first electronic dance song.
number 2 is a record that I own.
Hmm?
Um, and I'll just try to give you a hint. Things are made of these.
Um,
Blank are made of these.
Blink or me? Oh, Sweet Dreams.
Yeah, the Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams.
It was the Eurythmics. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, number 2
far
song
out.
in the country in that time. And number
Oh, that's
1
far out.
was a song by Sting and the Police. Could you have any guesses as to what
Oh,
song would be
in
number 1 in
'83. I mean,
83? It wasn't Popcorn.
it would either be I think because it was with the police.
Yep.
I think that's a little late for Roxanne.
Yep.
Was it Roxanne?
No, Roxanne
No,
was
you're
had
on
already come and gone, yeah. At
Run.
this
Okay, it had already
point in
come
the
and gone.
police, so at this point in the police, for those people who don't know much about the police, I actually really like Sting and the Police.
Hmm.
Um, so they started off as kind of being more like a leaning towards punk kind of ska sound,
Yeah.
and then as they got bigger and bigger, they kind of drifted further and further out of that punk and ska sound. By this point, they had kind of firmly drifted away from that.
Okay, so are we in like Field of Gold territory or Fields
I'm
of Gold
sorry, that's all
or
your hints I can. That's all the hint I can give you.
oh, okay.
I don't make up the rules for this game that I invented.
Well, if it wasn't that, then maybe Don't Stand, or if it Don't Stand So Close, or whatever the name of the song is.
Is every
Uh,
breath you take.
oh, see, I might have gotten there eventually.
Yeah, that was the police song we were looking for. Every breath you
Ah,
take.
Every Breath You Take. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, so like I said, a good day on the charts
Yeah,
when
that's
this movie came
really
out.
good. Heck yeah, that's really solid.
Yeah. So soon we'll take a little break and because I need to go cough a little bit.
Yeah.
There it comes. And
Yep.
then we're gonna talk about the plot of your Hunter from the future. So we'll be back in just a second.
Welcome to the End of the World podcast. Weekly, myself and others will descend into apocryphal madness as we look at some of the best depictions of the end of the world that television and film can offer us. Join us as we look at poorly aged vanity projects, miscast sci-fi epics, and just utter train wrecks of circumstance. We will see boys and dogs, nukes and viruses, roller skating Stallone brothers, zombie Elvis, chaotic allegories for Christ, and aquatic zombie Nazis off of Florida's most beloved coastline. And that just describes a few movies. You can find us on YouTube at Welcome to the End of the World podcast and everywhere else as well. Thanks.
Power and strength.
And we are back. I have had time to catch my breath and not die
Yeah.
from whatever sickness Robert Kennedy has sent upon me for besmirching his good name. I just need to drink milk, more raw organic milk. It'd be better to just go like find a cow and just supple straight from its teat. I believe that
Wait.
is the world Robert Kennedy wants from us.
What did they find in raw milk that was causing issues though?
I think
Weren't
it's
people
just
getting
like
sick?
bird flu or something.
Yeah, that's what it was. Bird flu.
It's just a small
You
thing.
know.
Let's talk about the plot of Yor, though.
Yeah.
That doesn't have anything to do with bird flu, which maybe that's what I have. Maybe I have bird flu. Maybe I'm going to turn into a bird.
Well,
Probably not.
you don't want to get shot down by Yor then.
It's true. He will kill me and use me for a kite. So the movie starts with maybe the most epic intro of any movie you can ever imagine. It's just a blonde barbarian running through the desert, which is really beautifully shot. And the soundtrack is immediately like a Queen ripoff that was recorded
Yes.
with no money. And the song is just telling you that Yor is the fucking man, and
Yep.
it's his world.
It's his world.
And we're just living in it.
He never sees the sun.
He never sees the
He's
sun,
always on the
despite
run.
the movie most of the movie takes place in the sunlight, but he's never seen it though.
He's
Didn't
never
look at
seen
it.
the sun.
Doesn't believe in it. Shit, doesn't believe in the sun. He can't. He can't see it if he doesn't believe in it. God damn it. It's pretty fucking clear right here.
That's awesome.
The lyrics don't make any sense of the song, but
Oh,
it
they
is a
make
catchy
zero
song.
sense. It's very
You'll get
catchy.
it stuck in your head all day long today. I've been watching this. I watched it earlier today because since I was
Yep.
sick, I didn't be dealing with all this house stuff. I haven't really had time to watch the movie, so I finally watched it today. And when I was watching it, I kept walking around the house afterwards, just screaming out, "Yours world, he's the man."
Oh no, yeah, it gets
My
right in
wife
there.
is just staring at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, you don't need to, you don't need to worry about it.
Did
So
she
yeah,
watch this with you by any chance? Or...
no, because the Blu-ray player just stopped working.
oh, that's
Which
right.
I don't know what's going on with that. Literally, it was working one day, and then the next day, it just was like stopped deciding to read any discs. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
I do not know. It's also like from 2011, so it might have seen better days.
Yeah. I'm always curious about a normal person's take on these type of things.
So unfortunately no, but we will be hearing from my wife soon. She has agreed to show up in an episode that we'll talk about
Awesome.
in January, whenever we come around to that movie. So yeah, war is running around, and we meet some more barbarians in this post-apocalyptic world that we don't know is post-apocalyptic.
Yep.
The movie is basically divided into two halves. The first half is a Sword and Sorcery, Conan the Barbarian ripoff, and the second half is a Star Wars Flash Gordon ripoff.
Yep.
And somehow they intermix the two in the most baffling of ways.
Oh, it's completely jarring.
Yeah, it throws you off completely. But at the beginning
it's a little
here,
bit like Boy and His Dog.
a little bit. And then so Yor is immediately shown to be our hero because he saves our other characters from the first real villain of this movie, which is the fucking dinosaurs. Yes, there
Jurassic
are
Park.
dinosaurs.
It's canon.
And Yor is going to fight these dinosaurs. And yes, they barely move. Yes, we're gonna film all of these scenes very close up, so you can't really get a good look at the fucking thing that we spent 16 cents to make. And yes, Yor's gonna stab it violently, and it's gonna be a lot of blood for no real reason. But he's gonna kill these fucking dinosaurs. The first half of the movie can really be punctuated by like every 5 to 10 minutes, either Blueface, Gorilla Men attack, or dinosaurs for like the first 45 minutes. Yeah, the blue meanies. Yeah, it's basically
get
what
some
they
beetles in there.
Yeah. So your this is also where I pointed out Reb Brown's voice has been replaced, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Your though, he's got a special medallion, which makes him different. He's not like other boys. He's a
He's not
special boy.
like
He's a special boy. He saves the party, and they invite him to the tribe, and he gets to go hang out. And this is where the female character it starts to try to come on to him by doing this really weird, seductive dance. But it's hard to tell what his reaction is to it because he's
it's
like it's difficult to describe. It's
it's
not like he's
very
interested, but also not disinterested, aroused, but also like confused about why he's aroused.
yeah, and a little amused even.
A little amused, a little like, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
very like I it was a complicated thing he was trying to convey there.
it was. He was going
Or
through a range of emotion in that face.
either that or he thought he was going through a complex range and then we just saw what was on his face. And it was like,
That
nope, didn't reach.
I think that might be the option. I think that might be
That
what
might
we got
actually
here.
be.
That might be what we
Yeah.
got here. Yeah, so Yor learns that he's not the only one with a medallion. There's a queen in another village that also has a medallion that
Yes.
might be able to give him some information about who he
Likened
is.
unto a god.
Likened unto a god. Yes, yes. But never mind all that. This movie has gone about 5 minutes since the dinosaur attack, so now we need another attack. We get
Yes.
introduced to our next antagonist, which are these blue-faced gorilla fucking dudes who just kind of
Yeah.
attack randomly, and they take up a large portion of the movie. Is just you're fighting these guys over and over and over again.
Yeah, they just keep popping back up.
They
And he's
just
got
keep showing back
more.
up.
It's
They
like,
attack. They attack the tribe. They take or kill almost everybody. Your
yes.
escapes with himself and his girl and his girl's. I guess was that her dad? I thought it was her dad.
I think her dad was the king of the tribe or something like that,
Uh
and
huh.
this guy just like de
Just there.
facto. Yeah,
Just kind of took on that role.
he took on the role. He's the Obi-Wan.
He's the Obi. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. So your escapes, but he's soon caught up with, and his specific medallion is stolen, and they just
Yes.
take Yor and they throw him off of a cliff.
Yeah.
He doesn't die though, unfortunately.
No,
No,
no.
he lives. He shakes it off like nothing,
Just like nothing happened.
like nothing, because he needs to go save the girl that he met 20 minutes ago. So far,
Yes.
this is the only woman he has ever met, and he obviously
Yeah.
needs to procreate with her. So he's going to go find her. And how does he do this? Well, he
Oh,
borrows the arrow from his elder, and he
yes.
shoots at a night beast, which he
A night
hits
beast.
on his very first try with this weapon.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be scary because he's
Yep.
like, look out, it's a night beast.
Night
Like, oh
beast, no,
no.
is dead.
Yep.
Yep, the only one we see in the
Immediately.
entire movie. The only one we see. And then he takes its body and turns
Oh,
it into a flying device and parallel and not parallel
paraglide. Yeah.
paraglides into the cave to
Oh,
rescue his damsel in distress, punctuated
it's
by the soundtrack playing Yours World, He's the Man, as
yep.
he flies in and Sting from WCW drop kicks one of the gorillas right in the face.
Yeah, this if nothing else, this was, worth the price of admission just for this scene. It was
Yes.
awesome.
And then how does he save the girl and how does he get everyone, well, not everyone free? He floods the cave, which I think
Yeah,
not only kills all of the gorilla guys, but also kills all the villagers that
yeah.
he was trying to save.
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
think they're
exactly
all
the
dead.
it didn't exactly solve his Herculean task like he thought it would.
No,
Like
he
it
basically
wasn't
just
as
just drowns everybody.
it wasn't a stable cleaning.
Yeah. Yeah, he just kills everybody by accident. Not a big deal.
I don't
So,
know. Was that a
uh,
reference to Hercules, you think?
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't know if they went that deep or if they
Right,
just want.
you know.
Well, because
Hey.
I mean, Hercules was coming around that time, wasn't he?
Yeah, Hercules had come out this time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
the Lou Ferrigno one, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah,
might
you might be.
be
You might be.
a
They
little
might
bit
have
of a
tried to rip
parallel
that.
there.
Might have
A
been
little
trying
bit.
to. Might have been ripping that off too. So once they get out of the cave, they're off to find the queen, who has a similar medallion. And
Yes.
once he meets her, he learns about his ancestry. He also learns about the power of fire, as he is
Yep.
immediately attacked with flames by all these in these horribly filmed action scenes. You can tell that they're using
Oh
real
yeah.
fire, and they don't want to get too close to Reb to set him on fire. So
Fair.
they're filmed in like a very like way that makes it seem like no one's really doing anything,
Yeah.
right? He's just kind of like gingerly hitting them, and they're kind of like, uh.
Yeah.
Apparently, filming this movie. So, a couple of things I learned when he was filming this. One, there was nowhere to work out, and Reb had to stay in shape. So he
Yeah.
basically just started doing sit-ups and push-ups every single day. That was the only way he could stay in shape. He also lost like 30 pounds filming this movie, just being out in the desert with his shirt off all the time, sweating
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And
That
I
sounds about right.
believe he got hit on the head a couple times by some of the extras who
Oh.
were filming with some of the axes and props and stuff
Oh.
that he got hit on. So I think
Good
maybe by
lord.
this point they were like, okay, nobody hit Reb.
Yeah, right? Like,
He's tired of it. Like he's really starting to get pissed off about it. Stop hitting him. So maybe by that point they'd already kind of established and they were like, okay, well, just slowly swing at each other.
yeah.
We'll fix it in post. And they
Yeah,
didn't.
right.
Yeah. So he meets the queen and yeah, beyond the horrible action scene, he meets the queen and she decides she's going to come with him to go
Yeah.
find their mutual heritage. This pisses off the other girl that he had already met.
Yes.
Yes, she does
Which
not like
which
this.
no, but old man Obi-Wan, he has some words of wisdom.
He does.
It's like, yeah, he can have more wives than just one. So get over it.
Yes, that is his advice to the young lady. He can
She
have more
doesn't get over
wives.
it though.
She does not. She actually confronts her with a knife.
Yeah.
It says one of us has got to go, which turns out to be fortuitous because that's about what happens pretty soon afterwards. Because right around
Yep.
the time that the girls are starting to squabble, they get attacked by the blue gorillas again.
Yep.
And Reb is there to save the day once again as they call for Yor's help.
Yes.
Fortunately, though, the queen with the medallion, she dies.
Yeah, that was a real just end of that B plot.
Yes, so the actress, I believe the only movie she was ever in was this movie.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
shame.
that's it. That was it. That's all I think she was ever in was that movie. So yeah, she dies, but she leaves the medallion to the other girl because she has seen that she truly loves her.
Hmm.
And she tells Reb where to go to find more information about their background, the
Yes.
mutual background they had together. And that is where we leave as they begin to take off to go find this area. However, we get another dinosaur attack. It's been about five
Yeah.
minutes. You got to have
Yeah.
another one.
Got to
This
distract
time,
people from watching a blatant ripoff of all these different,
yes,
you
yes,
know.
yes. Yeah, we're about to switch genres in just a few moments because
Yep.
Reb and the group get to they fight to find their way to the island after they feeding uh, the um the dinosaurs. They find another tribe, and this tribe tells them that they've recently been attacked because they shot down what they believe to be a god, which was actually
Hmm.
I believe to be like what we find out to be maybe one of the like little robot creatures that
Hmm.
was sent out to do some pilgrimaging. And
Yeah.
so they have some of his stuff there, and soon after they get attacked by the Overlord as well.
Yes.
He blows them all
It's
up, and this is when the movie becomes a sci-fi movie all of a sudden. So now we're
yeah,
going
all of
from
a
Sword and
sudden.
Sorcery to sci-fi. Because this is when we also find out that the Earth that we are living in is a post-apocalyptic wasteland. That
Yes.
nukes have destroyed the Earth, and these people are the civilization that has come afterwards. And Reb, he might have been in, he has a special role to play in all this.
Yeah,
Hence
he does.
his medallion, which somehow records information.
Yeah, I
Don't really
didn't
know how. They don't really explain how, but once
no.
Reb gets to where he's going to, they're able to read his medallion and learn everything about him.
Yeah. Future stuff.
Yeah. So after saving the village and then watching them get blown up, Reb takes off on a little boat to go to find the Overlord. And
Hmm.
of course, it's been about 5 minutes, so something dramatic has to happen.
Yep.
They have I guess, like a hurricane or just a bad storm, and they end up
Yeah.
getting separated and washed on shore to the same island, just in different
y-
spots.
Yeah.
And this is finally where we meet the Overlord, who is the villain of this movie, who is
Mhm.
hamming it up like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Just having all kinds of fun, being just the silliest villain in the world.
And also, I gotta say, a little underwhelming for it to, this big bad, uh, you know, big bad villain to just be just a guy in a cloak.
Yeah,
You
he's just a
know.
guy in a cloak. Just a guy in a cloak. Yeah, so Yor learns all about his past, where he comes from, who his dad was, who his mom was,
Hmm.
what his real name is. He also learns about the Overlord, and well, the Overlord wants him to basically play a role to play in his little plan.
Yeah.
And do you remember what the Overlord wants Yor to do?
This is where it becomes like Boy and His Dog,
Mm-hmm.
where he, not to spoil that one or anything, but these robot things, they need to be better. They need an upgrade,
Mm-hmm.
and there's only one way you're going to get it, and that's with with his seed.
He needs to inseminate.
He needs to inseminate robots.
That is the plan. God damn it!
That's
Of
solid.
course, that plan, being the genius plan it is bound to
Hmm.
have some detractors. So there's a whole rebel group that is also operating behind the scenes.
Hmm.
They they are the worst rebel group in the world. It seems like their grand plan was just like let's just wait around, and something is bound to work out for us.
Yeah,
Because it seems to be that Yor just happens to fall into their hands right when they needed him to.
yeah, yeah. It was
Like
like,
that's it. That's
just
it.
sit and wait. It's not a
Yeah,
bad way
just
to
sit and
go.
wait. Not a bad way to go. Yeah. So Yor, of course, does not like the Overlord's plan. He does not want to inseminate, and so him and the rebels attack.
Weird, by the way, that you don't want to do that.
Yeah, or not sure. So him and the rebels attack, and this is where we get some really bad laser shots that are
Yeah.
apparently most of the lasers are ripped off straight from Battlestar Galactica.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where the sounds are from. Or they're just straight from Battlestar Galactica.
See, that's a show I've tried. I need to get into that show.
Yeah, well, this is the old one that they're
The
stealing
old
from.
one. Yeah, that's the one I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
start with, I think.
Oh, okay,
Or I
okay.
don't know.
Yeah,
I want to
so
try it.
we get our final showdown, and we get some more Star Wars ripoffs here. The Overlord has to go and press a button, and of course he gets stabbed by Yor. After we get some odd gymnastics scenes, kind of parodying the little Luke scene from Episode 4, where he like has to fly over there. He has to he I forget what he does in Episode 4. He like swings over the barricade, or not over the barricade, over the gap, right?
Hmm. Oh, yeah, that.
Yor does that here, but like, oh, let's increase it. He can't get back, so the old man has to do like an acrobatic move, which is fucking ridiculous. But he does it, and Yor is able to get back after dropping off the bomb, and so we get everyone out, and the Overlord is stopped, and we end the movie by learning that it is in fact Yor's world, and
Yeah.
he is the man. And if it seemed like we went through that kind of fast, that's basically the movie. There's not a
Yeah.
lot. It is a fun time because it is so
Yeah.
silly watching all these things happen. But
Oh, yeah.
like all the dinosaurs look ridiculous.
No, it's
All of the apes and the monkeys look ridiculous. Planet of the Apes,
yes.
this is not. They are
No.
men with a bunch of like wigs on them with their
Yeah.
faces painted blue. The Overlord and all of his robots are just horrible Darth Vader ripoffs.
Yeah.
Apparently, they borrowed the costumes from other Italian movies they had done beforehand.
Okay.
So that's kind of where all the costumes
That's a
came from.
very
Is
Roger Corman thing to do.
yeah, right. That's kind of why I
Hmm.
appreciate it. Honestly, I really do.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do a lot of that, and that's pretty much yours
Okay.
world. He is
That's
the
yours.
man. We're recycling a lot. What
Oh,
did you
yeah.
think of your? Is this so that you said
Your
this was your first time watching it without the riff tracks, right?
Yeah, this was like the first time I saw it, of course. Well, I didn't see it. I watched the Spoonie review of it. So that was my first like intro to it. So there
Uh-huh.
was always some kind of commentary with it. And then the only other time I've seen it is with riff tracks. So this was the first time watching it without any kind of like assistance, I guess. Still just as silly. Still, I was able to engage pretty easily because it's not like a Manos, The Hands of Fate, where it's like you have to have commentary over it or you're not making it through. This one, no
Yeah.
problem. No problem making
Yeah.
it through.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was it was solid. But it's silly. I appreciate it for what it is. It's not that good, but that's fine. It's not that bad though either.
No,
Like I've seen a lot worse movies. So,
yeah, it
yeah.
is
So
like the
it's
perfect so bad it's good movie.
exactly. I think it
Um,
is.
yeah, it is like one of the most perfect so bad it's good movies because it has what a good bad movie needs, which is effort. You can tell that the
Yes.
people that worked on this tried to put in some effort.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they went into it knowing their budget limitations and they worked within their budget, and
Hmm.
they're not playing it for laughs. They're trying to be very sincere about it. It's played like an actual sci-fi sword and sorcery kind of
Absolutely.
silly movie that has
Yeah,
a bunch of silly ideas, but it is a fun watch.
I think so.
And it is a very very fun time. And I this is my second time watching it. Similarly, my first time was watching the review of it.
Hmm.
Second time watching it was Riff Tracks. And then I watched it when I bought it on Blu-ray. I actually found the Blu-ray years ago at Walmart
Oh man,
in West
awesome.
Memphis, Arkansas. When I worked in West Memphis, after work one day, I was like, I think I had some time to kill. And I went to the Walmart in West Memphis because there's nothing else to do in West Memphis. So I went
Oh.
there just to kill some time, looking at their movie selection, and I see Your, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this at Walmart? And I'm like, all right. I scanned it, and it's like $15. I'm like, all right, it's coming home with me.
Yep.
So that was the first time. Sorry, that was my first time watching Your without any commentary. Was when I first bought the Blu-ray, and then I was gonna watch it twice. This time, once with the commentary from Reb Brown
Yeah.
to hear what he had to say about the movie, but unfortunately that'll have to wait for a different day
Yeah.
because the Blu-ray player decided to crap out on me. But so this was a fun watch. I really like this movie. The soundtrack is a lot of fun. I have a soft
Yes.
spot in my heart for Italian disco, and this
Hmm.
movie has a lot of Italian disco kind of songs in it, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I like Reb Brown. I think he's silly and
Yes.
dumb. The movie itself is silly and dumb, and if you don't take it seriously, it's a fun time. And
Absolutely.
it's only like 83 minutes long. I don't want to watch the 3 hour long version. I
No.
have no
Well, I
interest
mean,
in
I
watching
kind
the
of do.
3 hour. I enjoy that. I don't need to see 3 hours of this world,
Oh, it would
but
be torture, but
but I'll sit through the 83 or 93-minute long
yeah.
version we
Oh,
got
it was
here.
perfectly timed.
It's a good
They
time.
did
It's
it.
a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah, it was a good move making it that much shorter.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I can't even imagine.
It was a good sick movie watch today. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
On a rainy November day when I'm sick as a dog and I need something to just turn my mind off and not think about the world. This scratched that itch. And thank
Mhm.
you guys for listening. And
Yeah.
we're gonna come back next week because we're gonna stay in the great country of Italy as we look at another Italian post-apocalyptic movie next week, as we look at 2020 Texas Gladiators,
Yes.
which is a hard movie to find on physical copy. However, Little Birdie tells me you can find it on YouTube for free. So I will include a link to that as well so you can watch along with us
Yeah.
next week. As we stay in Italy, we stay in the 80s. We jump
Mhm.
forward a year to 1984 and we look at Joe D'Amato's 2020 Texas Gladiators. Thanks you guys
Very
for
excited.
watching. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. And we will, or listening, not watching.
Mhm.
And we will see you next week. But before we do, I do need to remind some people, I feel like I'm
Some
getting
people.
personal here. Some people, the people, all people, we have finally gone to other platforms. So not
Yeah.
only are we on Spotify, which we've been on for a couple of episodes now, but we're also now on Apple Podcasts as well. So if you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can find us. If you listen on Spotify, you can find us, and we'll keep being on YouTube for those people that like listening to us on YouTube. So thank you guys for
Yeah.
tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week. See ya.
Take it easy.